welcome to That 80s Show. And if you're a fan of That 80s Show because you love my lovely co-host Dory, well, you're shit out of luck. Actually, no, we got a treat, a better treat. Dory could not join us this week, but we went to said, who is the most famous person we know? We know a lot of famous people through That 80s Show. It's like, who is the most famous person? And it's like, if you're a fan of 80s cartoon shows, one of the like underrated best 80s cartoon show was something called Voltron, right? Where it was, imagine like Power Rangers, but the Power Rangers, if you don't remember Voltron, are like mechanical lions. And what they would do is they'd battle enemies and villains separately, but then they would combine to make one giant robot, right? So we got the celebrity equivalent of that. A man who pulls his force and his power from every celebrity he's ever met, and there has been a lot of them. Met him as a humble chart savant, but he is now a fully fledged, metamorphosized Celeb Savant. Welcome to That 80s Show, Barrett Edelstein.
Hello, thank you for having me. I've never heard of that Voltron show. I don't remember it, so I was fascinated when you're talking about it.
Barrett, we're going to get into something a little bit later. Voltron is quite niche, you know, in the pantheon of like 80s cartoons. Okay. You know, you got He-Man, you got Brave Star, you got Thundercats. Voltron was a little bit more niche. But we'll get into things that, more popular things that you have not sat down and encountered, but that's for later. So if you've not listened to the show for a while, or you're new to the show, we see we've got new listeners all the time, you may not know who this gentleman is, this Celeb Savant of which we talk. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes up front catching up with him, because this man has a fascinating life, absolutely fascinating life. One of the hottest podcasts around, because he does all the things. He's the most prolific podcaster I think I've ever met. Definitely one of the most prolific podcasters in this country, right? So Barrett's podcast is celebrity-based, right? Tell us a bit more, Barrett.
Yep. Yeah, so I do career retrospective type interviews with singers, actors, actresses, and industry experts. I started off 2 years ago. Coming up July will be 2 years ago, so 2022. I started off with releasing one episode a week. Then I was up to 2 episodes a week, and now I'm to 3 episodes a week.
I mean, we battle to get 180 show done a week. I don't even know how you do it. But give us some of the names that you have spoken to over time. And it's like kind of like big names, really great heritage names, but also like a lot of hot new up-and-comers.
Yep. So so many super cool people. UB40, Marcia Barrett from Boney M, Tiffany, Andy McCluskey, I think how you pronounce it, from OMD. Monday, I interviewed Lloyd Cole. Next week, I've got Sybil, for those niche sort of dance people from the late 80s, 90s. So Sybil's interview's coming out next week. I'm busy finalizing dates with Crystal Waters, Victoria Monet, who recently won the Best New Artist Grammy. I've been busy with the record label organizing that, hopefully for next week. Martin Garrix, Loyiso, Will Linley, and 179 others.
Whoa. I did not know. I suppose I had assumed, but I did not connect the dots that you would have, because my daughter loves Will Linley. They met him at a concert, had photos, everything. I didn't actually compute that you would have interviewed him. That's great.
Yeah. So I interviewed him quite a while ago. I think he was in the first batch of artists. So it wasn't even, It was at the end of, yes, I remember correctly now. I interviewed him the end of 2022. His interview came out the January of 2023.
God, had his voice broken then, because he is disgustingly young. He is disgusting.
No, he was there like, he's now like 21. At that time, he was like 19 or something like that.
Exactly. Like, did his parents have to sign forms for him to speak to the Celeb Savant? No, he's outrageously young, super talented artist. People who maybe missed it. I mean, Barrett gets Christmas messages from Boney M. Christmas WhatsApps. They send him Christmas WhatsApps from Boney
Christmas
M.
voice note. Yeah, I was very shocked. So I'd sent a couple. I hadn't really been in touch with Marcia from Boney M. So I sent her a couple of messages from last year, and then I sent her a Christmas Xmas WhatsApp message, and then I get this voice note about a week after, or a few days after, from her and her husband wishing me Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, laughing and joyful message. And I was like, that's so sweet.
I mean, that is the equivalent of getting like the Easter bunny wishing you happy Easter. You know, it's like that thing that you when you got young kids and you do that Santa thing and it's that app. If you have young kids, just block their ears right now and they're listening to this. They shouldn't be listening to this because Paulo does like the swears, but they shouldn't. But block their ears. So it's this app that you get, and then you put the kid's name in, and it generates this video that Santa's like sending them a message and tells them to behave and whatever. It is the equivalent of that. This is the equivalent of that, Barrett.
Oh, I think this is better because it's a real person.
Way better, way better. Freaking Boney M wishing you Merry Christmas, like to you. That is unreal. They even had a song, I Want to Wish You a Merry Christmas, Barrett. I mean, that's literally how that song, extended mix. The other cool thing, I hope you were trending. I hope this show got a lot of hits because a while ago, I was actually with you that day when you interviewed Sophie Ellis-Bextor. And, you know, kind of like a lot of it is career retrospection. But what happens is because, you know, we're in the streaming generation, every now and again, the most random song from the 80s and 90s will just pop up and suddenly it's the number one streamed song because it's been in a TV show. And Murder on the Dance Floor pops up in Saltburn. Suddenly, Sophie Ellis-Bextor is back like number one in the charts, radio airplay, and you spoke to her. And she's so busy that she loved you. But she's like, I cannot speak. I'm so busy and so booked up again, right?
So Sophie's episode, I'll remember exactly. Her episode was the 11th or 12th episode that I released. So that was at the end of August, September 2022. So I reached out to the record label again now and say, can I please have a follow-up? And they said, no, she's too busy. And you can see she's now recently was on Jimmy Fallon, first American television appearance. The Americans never really took to her or like acknowledged her. Now, good on old Sophie. We love her old Sophie in the show.
I would say that you got to draw parallels of those. She went back on the Celeb Savant. Suddenly she's back in the spotlight. I don't think it's a coincidence. I definitely think the two are connected. I wanted to ask you something else. How's my friend Thomas Anders? You got him coming up soon.
Yes, so good old Thomas. So, yes, we interviewed him for the 80s show, and that was a while back, like 2 years ago, I think, somewhere.
Thomas Anders is from Modern Talking for those,
correct.
You know, Neanderthals that don't know.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people don't know. I mentioned Thomas Anders. They look blank face. You say Modern Talking. Oh, we love Modern Talking. So I interviewed him again a couple of weeks ago for Celeb Savant, and that show will be coming out in the next short while. And very exciting. He's going to be performing in South Africa in June. So lots of cool.
How is he? How is he? Is he still like I stalk him on social media? Is he still so handsome? He's such a daddy. He's like so handsome. Can't even deal with it.
Such a daddy. Yes. So he's lovely. He's very, very kind and very sweet. So looking forward to seeing him in June when he's here in South Africa.
I think that's the word, right? He is such a kind and sweet person. But, you know, if you're listening now and you want to get into Celeb Savant, I think what's phenomenal about what you've done, Barrett, is that like I've been in the radio industry for years. We've always like had access to interview people, and you get this like, honestly, it's bullshit pre-scripted. You got 5 minutes. You can only ask them about the current album and don't ask them about these questions. And as soon as they're done, you got the publicist over the shoulder and they just pull them away, right? I think what's really interesting about your show is that because you talk to a lot of heritage artists and up and comers, but you do speak to like a fair amount of like current artists, there's no bullshit in your interviews, right? And that's what I really enjoy because people, like by and large, everybody's sweet. I've been in interviews with you, Citizen Deep, for example. Like, I don't know, there's something just very disarming about you that people just go, oh, okay, this guy's not here to get that PR blitz. He's not I think sometimes they suss you out and go, this guy's an influencer. He's just using my name to get his name out there. He wants the selfie. Well, you're not like that. You like 100% interested in them. Like you really care about them as a person, not, you know, them as Sophie Ellis-Bextor, the superstar.
Yeah, exactly. So I go into every interview with not having the intention of getting the clickbait of the filters of the persona. I want to find out or interact with the person behind the persona. So straight away, normally what I normally do is before we even push record, I say to them, cool, I want your birth date. I could get this on Wikipedia, but this sort of disarms them already. I say to them, please give me your birth date because I want to put in my diary so that when it's your birthday, I send you a birthday message wishing you happy birthday and reminding the listeners to listen to the podcast if they've not done so already. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And I put in my diary and said, that's fantastic. Then we have a little chat. And then I say to them, cool, are you comfortable that we push record? It's just going to be a relaxed conversation like we're having now. And they say, yeah, sure. And my first thing I always say to them is, where do we find you in the world and how are you doing? And it's like, they realize, oh, cool. This is just going to be a conversation. It's not going to be about what they ate for breakfast, who they're shagging, who they had a fight with. And in fact, a number of times or a few times, I've had people where they heard that I was going to be doing interviews with so-and-so, and they're like, oh, they had a fight or argument with this person. Ask them about that. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that crap. I want to find out about who they are, how they create, how their creative brain works, and what drives them as a person. Not that other nonsense that all the other interviewees are generally interested in, because I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? He wishes them on their birthday. I mean, I don't know. We cannot figure out how Barrett only has access to that 80 Show Instagram account. We can't figure out how to disc it or whatever it is. But like, if you go look at that 80 Show Instagram, we look great because it's full on wishing all these 80s people happy birthday. And we look like the kindest people. I barely remember my own birthday. So it's fantastic.
So yeah, we need to sort that out though. We need to figure that out. But that's
if anyone can help us. If anyone can help us. And on that note, listen, that 80 Show, we got a Facebook page, that 80 Show SA on Facebook. We've also got a WhatsApp channel. So if you're old, it's a WhatsApp channel. So check that out. That's and then we'll figure out how to, whatever we're doing with Instagram, we broke it. If anybody knows. Along with that is that not only do you get these interviews, you have cracked the code, you get invited to every event, right? I'm so jealous of you. Like I'll see on Celeb Savant because you're Celeb Savant on all the social media, Savant, right? Savant.
Yes.
You got to know how to spell that. And I see,
and Celeb with C.
It's Celeb with a C. Hey, listen, you got to say it. You got to say it.
No, but sometimes people put S for some reason.
Right. What's wrong with people? So I see your social media and I'll go, oh no, Barrett's gone to this event and Barrett's been invited to this and Barrett's at the launch of this and Barrett's front row at this and Barrett's at this with your 1990s digital camera. Like he legit has a little digital camera from the 90s, 2000s, not with film, still digital.
Yes.
Okay. So retro.
So with these events, it was just taking up too much time to take the camera and the phone, because I can't say to an artist, oh, can we have a photo with the camera and with the phone? It's like, they look at you strangely. So I've gotten into the rhythm now of the events, just doing my phone. I'll get those developed. And when I do stuff personally and out of the celeb world, I still use my digital camera. Everyone looks at me strangely, but I'm like, hey, I like my camera.
Hey, that's it. So I want to talk to you about some of the kind of retro things. I mean, could you go to everything? I mean, you go to like pretty much every gig.
For some of them, you have to apply. But there's a certain, not mentioning names, organizer in the space that you don't always get an invitation. So those ones I'm sometimes disappointed about, but it's fine. So I try and get my name out there. What's super cool is up until around August last year, it was all the people that I connected with, in the beginning, and all my hard work. Then from August, September last year, I was getting my email, this invitation to this event and that event. I'm like, where are these people getting my details from? Because I didn't approach them. Now they're approaching me. And I'm like, so I said to them, and I'm tooting my own horn here, recognizing myself, patting myself on the back. I said to them, where did you get my details from? How did you find me? And they said to me, we know who we need to invite. So I'm like, hello. So all my hard work is now paying off.
So that's my coup, right? Because I'm like, listen, I need a fill-in today. I need a big name. I got to there's only one person I can get, so I know who I need to invite to the show. the 100% retro concert. You were there. I was there. You were backstage. I was just a peasant.
Well,
I had a chance meeting with Dr.
yeah.
Alban. You had canapes with Dr. Alban and Hadaway. Awesome concert. Nice people. Hey, I mean, they were cool people. They seemed. Everyone seemed
Yeah.
cool.
So Penny from Snap was the best. I was like just hanging out. So before
awesome.
we went into
She did a high kick. She did a high kick in her show. She's 60. She kicked above her head.
Did she?
She did.
Well,
she kicked above her head.
we were sitting and hanging out like in like the hotel sort of veranda section. Myself and this other dude, we were just talking and for like 30, 40 minutes. And in my brain, I'm like, every now and then I was like, what is happening right now? And then I met Rosala. Rosala's lovely. Like she just like hugged me and then hugged me again and hugged me again. And now we're sort of friends. So yeah, it's, I don't mean to say so yeah, as in being whatever. I'm like, it's just like weird. So yeah.
No, I totally get it, because even sometimes when I've done stuff with you and we've done interviews together, it's so bizarre. You get off the line, like with Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet, and you're going, holy shit, we just spoke to Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet. It was bizarre, you know? And another event I want to talk to you about, because obviously there's a lot of 80s stuff happening. Deacon Blue coming up next weekend as you listen to this. If you listen to this just after we release, OMD's coming up. That's going to be fantastic. Of course, Thomas Anders coming up. That's going to be outrageous, especially in the 80s space. You've also been going to, I mean, because it's not just concerts, you get invited to like a lot of theatrical productions. So I saw you at a Michael Jackson, like a history stage show type thing. You want to talk to me about that? That looked interesting.
So Showtime Australia is, they've got this sort of thing now where they're doing sort of these tribute shows. So they do the Belinda Davids, Whitney Houston one, as she's part of their repertoire. They do Michael Jackson one. I saw in the theater as promotion, there's going to be a Prince one, there's going to be a Tina Turner one, there's going to be an ABBA one, there's going to be a Bee Gees one. Those are the ones I can remember. I can't remember all the other artists that they do tribute shows to. So I was at the Michael Jackson history tribute show. It was nice. It was cool. I think we've had this discussion before. I was never a Michael Jackson's fan with his music. After Thriller, like had Thriller and I was like, okay, this is cool. But then thereafter I realized every freaking song, it didn't matter. Now people are going to bombard me with this, but every freaking song, didn't matter if he was singing about healing the world or healing yourself or praying to God. He had to grab his crotch and go, in every single song. And it drove me insane. I absolutely hated it. I thought, why do we have to do that when you're singing about healing the world? Why? So that used to drive me insane. So, but the history show, the guy who plays or portrays or channels Michael Jackson, or whatever you want to call it, Garth Field's fantastic. The show was super cool. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not a major Michael Jackson song or repertoire fan, but the way they did it and portrayed it and did it was a fantastic show.
Look, I'm sure Macaulay Culkin also got upset with Michael Jackson grabbing his crotch, but let's not say that.
No, man, that's terrible.
I went to go watch a movie this weekend. You also got all the movie premieres. You don't understand what this man gets access to.
Well, most of them, not all of them.
Okay, most of them, right?
Yes.
What, you went to the Barbie movie, the Barbie premiere? You didn't go to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's not your vibe.
Oh, no. So I'll explain that. So Oppenheimer was the exact same day as the Barbie one, literally.
Yes,
so that would have been at 9:00 in the morning till like 12:30, however long that movie was. And then Barbie was in the evening from 7 till whatever. And I thought, I can't sit in a movie theater for 6-7 hours of the day. It's just too much for my brain. My brain can't do more than one movie a day in a theater. So, and I was busy during the day, so that's why I chose just to do the Barbie in the evening and just to skip Oppenheimer. Sorry.
That's fine. Of course you do that. But one you went to this week, I want to just quickly touch on it, and I think it kind of fits in with the show. The Bob Marley biopic, One Love.
Oh, yes.
What did you think about it?
That was fantastic. So I was sort of in the periphery. I love music, finding out about the artists and that, but I don't know much about Bob Marley because I mean he died in 1981, I think it was 82.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it
Yeah.
was from cancer. I thought it was more from drug related things. I didn't realize until now that it wasn't drug related. It was all because he got skin cancer and he left it. He never checked it. He got a melanoma, and that eventually enhanced. But it was a really great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have a new appreciation for him, for who he was, his legacy, and his music.
Yeah, it was really. So I'm a huge Bob Marley fan. I think and music one side, but I think kind of like his place in the world is very interesting. And I've listened to like loads of podcasts and like any kind of Bob Marley documentary, anything I can get my hand on. I absolutely love it. So I really enjoyed it, and I've like listened to loads of stuff, loads of stuff. I've even got this. One of my most prized possessions at the moment is Bob Marley's last concert that he performed in Europe before he passed away was at this little ramshackle stadium in Dublin, right? And the soccer team that plays there is called Bohemians. And kind of at the anniversary of it, I think it was the 40-year anniversary of that concert, they released this commemorative kit, which is kind of white and it's got the Rastafarian red, green, and gold. And then it's got this awesome, like, superimposed image of Bob Marley, just like really crazy. It popped as like become one of the most like collector's items shirts in the world. And I got one because my brother-in-law lives in Dublin. And when we went over there last time, we went to go watch a game at the stadium and go, wow, this is the last place he performed. And the story of it is that when he was booked to go perform in Dublin, firstly, he was booked at like quite a, prestigious Royal Irish Hall, Royal Irish Academy or something. And they said, no, look, we don't want Rastafarians performing here. So, got to find another venue. And they approached Bob Marley, said, we found another indoor venue. And he said, indoor venues are expensive. I know there's like a lot of financial problems in Ireland. I want everybody to come to my show. So please get me an outdoor venue. So they presented him with a stadium. He goes, love it. That's where I want to be. And was like the Irish national soccer team had played there. Bob Marley's a big soccer fan. And he was like, yeah, that's cool. That like, I want it. But he says, on condition that we get to play a soccer match before we perform. But that's it. So that's very much what it's like. And even around the stadium, these great murals of Bob Marley around the stadium and the area.
Oh, okay.
And listen, there's sinister stuff about his story as well. So this movie was made very much by his family and very much like a Bohemian Rhapsody or the Elton John biopic Rocket Man. When it's that tightly stage managed, you don't get the full story. It's kind of like this, this perfect sanitized version, if you will. So, I mean, there's like a whole side of it where Bob Marley was a polygamist and he had multiple wives and multiple families. And there was like a bit of controversy around it at the time, but they don't really touch on that in the movie. There's also like conspiracy theories plus. They did, but they didn't get into it.
Yeah. Like when they had the argument with him and his wife, she referenced it. Yeah.
So unless you know his story, you don't actually quite know. Like you go, oh, okay, well, he's a rock star. He likes other women. Women throw themselves at him. But it was a bit more than that. I mean, even the story about his cancer is like, there's CIA conspiracies that because he wouldn't side with certain politicians, they poisoned him. And that's what gave him the cancer, because the cancer he got is so ridiculously rare. Anyway, so there's huge stories about him. There's whole Rastafarians of they believe he's Jah and the actual embodiment of it. So it's wild. Like his story is crazy. But that's a really good movie. And this is not our movie recommendation moment, so that'll come up later. But do yourself a favor if you're going to watch one. And you know what? Like, unlike all these biopics, they tend to take for like 3 hours. This is nice, short, hour and 40 minutes or so.
Yes.
And all of Bob Marley's music.
Yeah, there are lots of biopics in the pipeline being made at present. I mean, I saw there's a Linda Ronstadt one, which Selena Gomez will be playing in. Obviously, there's Madonna one. There's the Amy Winehouse one. There's a whole bunch of them now. It seems to be the new sort of trend.
Yeah, and of course, you trade on it. You get to put some music in it. It's all really cool.
Yeah.
And the actor who played Bob Marley, Kingsley Ben-Adir, and he's just like doing all the things. He's projected to be the next James Bond. He's so handsome, right? So I'm busy watching and I go like, he's super handsome, this guy. This guy's so handsome. And you go, yeah, Bob Marley was actually a handsome guy. And then you realize, No, Bob Marley was a pretty normal looking guy.
Yeah.
Kingsley's a super good looking guy.
Speaking of these biopics and that, so I eventually watched the Whitney Houston biopic. We discussed it before. But it fizzled out and died. Like there wasn't a big hoo-ha around it. It was hardly at the cinema at all. What happened with that movie? Did it just was that a dud?
Can I tell you, I mean, we did speak about it. It was one of our movie recommendations. You know what my feel was? Is that the actress who played Whitney Houston had no charisma. Like, I think, firstly, for me, Whitney Houston was beautiful. The actress who played her wasn't that remarkable looking. So you kind of go, I don't for 1 second believe you're Whitney Houston. And I think that's why it went. Like, at no point did I mean, you watch Bohemian Rhapsody and you go, even though, the guy who played Freddie Mercury looks nothing like he's shorter than him, but you believe he's Freddie Mercury. Likewise, I believe Kingsley Benadir. I believed he was Bob Marley. She just had no charisma. She just was so meh.
Well, I actually saw an article this week that Sony or Primary Wave, who own her rights or whatever, are suing all the producers because they haven't received any of the money for utilizing the songs in the movie.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I saw that this past week, actually.
Do not fuck with Sony. Good luck to those. So not only did they make a shitty movie, they've now pissed off Sony with probably one of their biggest and most lucrative catalogs. So good luck to that. Good luck to those guys. Okay, so listen, that is Celeb Savant. You can find his podcast, 3 podcasts a week. There is a lot to catch up. You don't have to listen to all of them. You can just go to the artists that appeal to you. There are emerging artists. There are directors. There are actors. There is local. There's international. There's names you've heard of. There's people that you've never heard of. And some of those people you've never heard of have got the most phenomenal stories. I mean, I think, who was the DJ that posted the other day? He goes, I mean, to your point that we know who to invite. He went, I can't believe that I've just been interviewed on his social media, by the guy who interviewed Martin Garrix. Like, that's kind of like for him.
Yeah, so that was in Vida. Yeah. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
When people start saying that, you think, okay, maybe I have accomplished something.
So if you want to listen, it's all there. Celeb Savant, Celeb with a C, Savant, Savant. He's on all the socials at the same thing. If anything, just watch it for like event porn, to just go, how does this guy get all the time to go to like everything? Barrett, do you want to hear some 80s jokes?
Okay.
You do. You have no choice. I'm going to give you some 80s jokes.
Okay.
So, a big resource of the show, that whenever we're running out of content, we go cracked.com. Okay, I'll always give them their credit. They put out fantastic articles every now and again about the 80s, and they've put together a list of jokes from the 80s that just need to be explained today. Okay, so maybe in the 80s they were kind of funny, but you'd really have to explain them today. So I'm going to read you some of them, right? So what's the difference, Barrett, between Michael Jackson and Richard Pryor?
I don't know.
Okay, Michael Jackson was burned using Pepsi, and Richard Pryor was burned using Coke.
Oh, God.
Do you get that?
Yeah. It took me a moment. Yeah.
Okay, so just in case you didn't get it, Michael Jackson was filming a Pepsi commercial and he caught on fire, like literally caught on fire. And then Richard Pryor, his hair caught fire. And then Richard Pryor was freebasing cocaine, and set himself on fire. Okay, glad you got it.
Wait, what does freebasing cocaine mean? What does that mean?
I have no idea. I just see them do it in drug movies. I think it's like the coke becomes a liquid or something, and then you inject. I don't know if it's a pipe. I think you smoke it. I don't know. I don't know drugs. Love Bob Marley. Don't know drugs. I want to read you one more joke. These are 80s jokes that just don't stand the test of time. Is how many letters are in the alphabet, Barrett?
26.
In the 80s. No, in the 80s there were only 22 because E.T. went home and somebody shot JR.
Ach, nee, man.
Okay. And this one, kind of the absolute level of that 80s show humor. How come the members of U2 still haven't found what they're looking for?
I don't know.
Because the streets have no name, Barrett. The streets have no name. Bono's in trouble. He was causing shit this week. I see he's being cancelled again. I don't know what he was doing.
Cancelled? I never knew he was cancelled before.
Yeah, he's always cancelled. He's always doing something wrong. He did something again. I don't know. I just saw Bono controversy.
I'm so over this cancel nonsense. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, really. I think you can get cancelled and uncancelled, yeah. And a final 80s joke from crack.com of 80s jokes that did not age well, that needs some explanation. What do Abraham Lincoln and an 80s sitcom have in common?
What's that?
They were both shot before a live audience. I like that. I like that one. I got him.
Yeah.
So one thing we do on that 80s show is we go back to the 80s television and movies and talk about stuff from the 80s that maybe you forgot about. Dory likes doing, sometimes we do modern day stuff, documentaries about 80s people, but kind of like our 80s themed multimedia recommendation. So Barrett, you said you got something very exciting for me this week.
Oh, I'm so very excited. I went down some rabbit hole before. So I love, and now I know you're going to laugh and everyone's going to laugh at me, which is fine because it's fantastic. I loved, my show was the Mickey Mouse Club show. I loved the Mickey Mouse Club show. And to such an extent, okay, now this, you know me, M-O-U-S-E. Hey, they, howdy, ho, they, and I don't know the rest. But anyway, so we, in South Africa, we didn't get like the last 4 seasons. We only got like the first 3 seasons. So we never saw when Britney and Justin and Christina and all those people were on. But we got the first 3 seasons. So I had to be home every single day. And I recorded the songs, the clips, the songs. You know, they did a music video and they had an artist and every day they had a song. I've still got them on VHS. I need to get them transferred onto DVD. So, and I loved them so much that I used to dress like the guys used to wear hats and waistcoats, and I used to buy waistcoats and hats to dress like them. But like no one else dressed like that in South Africa. I just dressed like that and everyone thought I was weird, but that's okay. And then there was even a Mickey Mouse Club CD that was released from a later series. I've got that CD. And then 5 of the performers, Dee Dee, Tiffany, Albert, Chase, and Damon, they went to perform a group called The Party that was semi-ish sort of successful in the States. And I've got all their CDs, and I'm very excited because through my rabbit hole this morning, I found their contact details. And guess who's going to be guests on Celeb Savant?
Mickey Mouse? You got Mickey Mouse. That's it. Just tell me you got Mickey Mouse. No way.
Yeah, I love that show.
Outrageous.
I loved it. I watched it all the time. So my show is the Mickey Mouse Club, and it was just, you know what I even did? I remember I looked up agents because I used to practice the dances and follow them and do everything. And I remember phoning up an agent at the time and asking them if they could help me get to become a Musketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club. Could they organize an audition for me and send me over?
That is outrageous. Listen, it surprises me zero. The fact that you used to wear a waistcoat surprises me zero. The Mickey Mouse Club was so outrageous because it was, that time period, like Americana just blew up, right? Like New Age Americana, not the 1950s, that era. New Age Americana blew up. And Mickey Mouse Club, especially for like our generation, was so, like you say, you had to get home. They did like little skits, if you don't remember. They did like music. Yeah, they'd take the popular music of the day and perform that song, right?
Even on a Tuesday, I remember it was a Tuesday, they created like a sort of mini series within the show. And the actors and the story, and it was like 5 minutes within the Mickey Mouse Club. And the story ran for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks. And a lot of those actors went on to become famous. So a lot of them, like Jason Priestley, Shannon Doherty, Jenny Garth, all those people from Beverly Hills 90210. I remember them being in these like little shows within the Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah. A lot of those big actors were in those sort of shows.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, because everybody knows that who was it? Was Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears,
Yep.
Ryan
Yep.
Gosling, and Christina
Yes.
Aguilera. They were all together,
Yes.
but not on. Yeah, you're right. We never saw it here.
We never saw that. Also on those series, those seasons when those guys were in, also Kerry Russell, that actress who,
Yes,
yes, she was also, and
Felicity
JC
and
Chasez.
really,
JC Chasez from NSYNC. He was also part of that crew. Yeah.
that is so crazy. But I mean, obviously, and this was kind of just at the era of manufactured pop bands. So obviously they go, okay, well, where are we going to find super talented kids who are okay with like hectic routines, hectic dance routines, being in the biz, kind of like a little bit of an incubator. So it makes sense that go into it. I got to ask you a question, Barrett, though, because there'll be people going, hey, Mickey Mouse Club, I loved it. But there'll also be people who loved Kids Incorporated. Now, which one?
Yes.
Do you give them props, or was it like you're totally anti-Kids Incorporated?
No. So I mean, we only also got the first like season of Kids Incorporated. There were like 7 or 8 seasons of it. We never got the rest of them. So I remember seeing more of Mickey Mouse Club than I did of Kids Incorporated. And if I think back, Kids Incorporated was once a week. Mickey Mouse Club was every single day. So it was more to engage me with. I loved Kids Incorporated as well. Loved it. Okay. But I think Mickey Mouse trumps it because there was more to engage me with. There was more of it.
It's Mouse basically. Of House. I mean, it's going to be pizzazz. It's going to be Disney. It's like it's huge. I did not think today that I'd be talking about Mickey Mouse Club. That is, I remember so badly wanting the Mickey Mouse ears. I was just like, because you get the waistcoats, but you're not a Mouseketeer unless you have the Mickey Mouse ears. Like, that is it.
Yes, and they all had their bomber jackets, or those baseball jackets, like with red and black, and with their names at the back. And that's how they always started this show, running through the crowd who was screaming. And then they would all like dance, and they all had their bomber jackets, and they would take them off, and then they each did like little skits and dances and stuff. I loved it.
Mickey Mouse rock the house. Hey, that was the lyric. Mickey Mouse rock the house. Like if you were 9 or 10 years old watching Mickey Mouse Club, you're like to Barrett, that is the dream. Like I want that bomber jacket. I don't want to dance with young Britney Spears. It's cool. I was young as well, so it's like this is the life. Fantastic recommendation. Have you in your like searches, were you able to find any like episodes or?
Yes, on YouTube this morning I was watching. You know, remember it had that intro, the singing intro. Hey there, howdy, howdy, and then each of the people or the performers, and I pop in front, like, Jennifer, Mark, Brittany. So I saw this morning all 7 seasons of the intros and I was like, I didn't see that one. I would have wished I would have seen that season.
It must be cool that though, like watching some people pop up and go, hey, that person was that. Oh, that must be a fun little game.
Yes, it was.
So you're going to give us that clip. We're going to put on That 80 Show SA Facebook and What's Up That 80 Show SA. We also put the link on That 80 Show SA Facebook or in our show notes on the show. Fantastic, Barrett. Fantastic. I'm going to go the polar opposite of Mickey Mouse Club because that's very sanitized, very Disney. I'm going to go the other way. And I needed you to know somebody before I spoke about it. I know you know everybody, but, sometimes I get quite niche on stuff. So Carl Weathers, huge actor from the 80s, passed away a couple of weeks ago, I think this month, 1st of February. And a lot of his work has kind of popped back up. Of course, we know him from... He was Apollo Creed in Rocky, right? Okay, so, and some people, and I think latterly people have come to accept that Rocky and Apollo Creed, it's a Rocky and Apollo Creed. It's not just Rocky. Like Rocky needed Apollo Creed, and Apollo Creed's arch through Rocky is just as important as Rocky's, right? Now, Barrett, I know you've never watched Rocky, but you're familiar with Rocky. You watched the Eye of the Tiger video. So that's good enough.
Yeah, music video. Yes.
You know that.
Him running up the stairs. Yes.
Yes. So you know that, right? So that's Apollo Creed's big role. Love it. A few weeks ago, we spoke about the entire Apollo Creed series and kind of like how that extended Apollo Creed universe. And of course, Carl Weathers passes away. And recently we saw him in Mandalorian. But the movie I'm going to talk about today was kind of meant to be his breakout, to be, because in the 80s it was action stars. So you had top of the pile, Schwarzenegger and Stallone, right? They were at the absolute top. Then underneath you kind of had Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris, Dolph Lundgren, Mel Gibson for a bit, Bruce Willis a little bit, and Carl Weathers was supposed to slot into that. So kind of like if you watch Expendables, not the guys in the front of the poster, the guys on the side of the poster, right?
Okay.
And Carl Weathers was set up to be that. So Carl Weathers, of course, does Rocky. I mean, he's carved out of granite at this stage. He is phenomenal. His muscles have muscles. He is an absolute specimen. Put him in a museum. Like, study that. That is how glorious he's looking at this stage, right? And he does Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he's been with Sylvester Stallone, held up. He's been with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, holds up. So he starts speaking to the director of Predator and saying, listen, like, we can make a movie, action star, whatever. And he goes, love it. Write me the movie. Let's get it made. So they make this movie, my movie recommendation this week, called Action Jackson, which is widely referred to as the best action movie you've never seen. You gasped.
I remember. I remember that name.
So
I never watched it, but I remember that name.
That's the thing. People remember the name. They're vaguely familiar with it, but they never watched it for whatever reason, right? So let me tell you about the greatest action movie you've never seen, the greatest action movie that I hope a lot of you go and watch. So, I mean, even iconically, right, Barrett, have you seen that meme of the two arms, like two big bicep muscly arms clasping each other? Have you ever seen that? Okay.
I'm not really a meme person. So.
Okay. I'll remind everyone, I'm going to put this on that 80 Show SA Facebook page, right? So if you've seen that, it's two arms and people like put it, and then they put like different words on it to like go, this is how tightly bound we are. It's kind of like a meme for showing like two things go together. The two arms, the one on the right is Arnold Schwarzenegger's arm and the one on the left is Carl Weathers' arm, right? He's meme. He's meme royalty. So Action Jackson, maybe you heard the name, because how the movie got the name is there was a cast member or a crew member that now hears about this movie being made. And he says, listen, I will do anything with this. If you want, I'll do anything to make this movie. I'll be there like Action Jackson. And they went, that is a phenomenal name.
Okay.
That is what we are calling it, right? So maybe, because everyone says, hey, you like Action Jackson, and they use that without really knowing. So they give Action Jackson, they give Carl Weathers his starring role, right? And his story is he's in Detroit, and Detroit's kind of like in this period of the 80s was like a rundown city because they were the heartbeat of motor manufacturing in America. Americans loved American cars until Japanese cars started coming in, and then a lot of the big factories started closing down, laying off people, downsizing. So Detroit was kind of like this byword for unemployment, crime, and poverty. And, you know, RoboCop was set there. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley comes from Detroit. And Carl Weathers plays this tough Detroit cop who does things by his own rules, you know, his own rules type of thing. And he's got such a reputation, kind of like a Chuck Norris-y reputation of there's a bag snatcher gets arrested and the cops picking him up are like telling him about Action Jackson, but in this Chuck Norris type of way. Oh, well, people say he was the first man in space without a spacesuit. And people say no one knows who his father is, but they did studies and his father is Bigfoot. And they just like, he's just got this legend, right?
Yeah.
And then he's just got this legend, right? So to the point that the perp just passes out because he's so afraid. Like, he's just so afraid of everything that's happened now. And the first time we see Action Jackson, he's now in trouble with his detective, with his superior officer. And he says to the guy, you know, you can't do that. You can't go around ripping people's arms off. He rips a person's arm off. And he says, I didn't think it'd be that big a deal because he's got a spare. Yes. This movie, action one-liners. Later on, he shoots a guy with a flamethrower and he says, how do you like your ribs? Barbecued? And then shoots him in the ribs with the flamethrower. I mean, this is beautiful. Gold, beautiful. So story goes, he is a cop, does things by his own rules. There is a very corrupt businessman in the motor industry, starts killing union reps. The story is irrelevant, played by Craig T. Nelson, and he's very powerful. Action Jackson starts investigating the murders, and then he gets Action Jackson demoted from being Action down to being Paperwork Jackson. So Paperwork Jackson's like, no, I've got to save my reputation, and I got to clear my name, and I got to get this guy. I got to take him down. We then meet the two ladies involved in the movie, two fantastic actresses who are both involved with the Craig T. Nelson character. His wife is played by a very young Sharon Stone.
Okay.
Sharon Stone at this point, we hadn't seen her entire range of Sharon Stone, if you know what I mean, right? We weren't familiar with all her work at this point, right? We had
the flexibility in her work.
Yes, right. Okay, so at this point that's Sharon Stone, and then the mistress is played by, and this is somebody Vanity.
Yes, I remember. She was a singer, hey? Well, she was part of Prince's crew.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, she was Prince's ingenue. She was Prince's muse. He calls her his muse. He also calls Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles one of his muses. And if you look at Susanna Hoffs in Vanity, because Prince could never get to Susanna Hoffs, so he kind of created Vanity in her image. And yes, so Prince, listen, when you're Prince's muse and he's writing music for you and producing your albums, you're going to make some pretty decent stuff, I think. She was lucky that way, but she never broke through. And I first got a crush on Vanity when she was in The Last Dragon. She was in that as well. Plays exactly the same character, and she's now the mistress. And the Craig T. Nelson character keeps her sweet by keeping her drug addicted, keeping her on smack, keeping her on the smack. Okay. Barrett, there are so many funny things in this movie. I mean, there is this one gangster who attacks people and cuts off their balls and keeps them in a jar. And he calls the balls fracks. Okay. Yeah, he said, I'm going to take your freaking fracks. I don't know what's going on. It is action. It is awesome. It is one of the most fun 80s style action movies you've not seen. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. We'll put some clips on YouTube. The movie did quite well, right? It opened the same year as Steven Seagal's first movie and actually outperformed it, right?
Okay.
And, over the years, there's kind of been suggestions of going, the critics panned the movie, fans loved it, but there was a suggestion that, Hollywood was going, we can't build a franchise around a black lead actor. He's a great sidekick. Yeah, and that was kind of the feeling of going, this is not going to sell. We can't do it, which is very foolish on their part because they had a guy who was not Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone level, granted, but kind of that next level. He was definitely there, better actor than Steven Seagal. And so Action Jackson, great movie. They were always meant to do a sequel. They never did a sequel. Carl Weathers did another movie where he played a very similar character. And in Europe, it was released as Action Jackson 2. So, a little bit. In that one, he's with Billy D. Williams, of all people. But that is my movie recommendation this week. Action Jackson, in celebration of Carl Weathers' career. The best action movie you've never seen. Sharon Stone's gorgeous. Vanity's gorgeous. Carl Weathers, I got to tell you about this one scene. He is so super powered, right? Somebody tries to take him out with a yellow taxi cab. He jumps over the taxi cab, not jumps on the bonnet and runs, jumps over, right? Chases the taxi cab. Now it's a driving car and driving. He chases it on foot, catches up with it, jumps on the roof, gets driven around. They try and throw him off, and he punches the guy out through the windscreen.
Wow.
It says action. It is action. So that is my movie recommendation. Polar opposite of Mickey Mouse Club.
The Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah,
you're gonna get a bit of everything.
Exactly.
A bit of everything. You're gonna get.
Can I give you a quick factoid?
Oh, please! I love factoids on the show.
So we spoke about Prince and him producing artist music, and it's just randomly came into my brain. So I thought I'd share. So Martika, we love Martika, who's part of Kids Incorporated. So full circle moment here happening. So her second album, Martika's Kitchen, was produced by Prince. And you'll hear him on background vocals. So she was also one of his muses, or whatever you want to call it, for that album.
See, that's fascinating stuff. Because he wrote he wrote one of the Bangle songs for Susanna Hoffs because he was so infatuated with, I think it was Manic Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, he wrote Manic Monday for her. Another factoid about Action Jackson: Paula Abdul choreographed all of Vanity's dance moves because Vanity is she's like a nightclub singer in this, and Paula Abdul.
Yes.
So it's just got factoids everywhere. Love that one.
We love factoids.
All of Prince's ingenues. All of Prince's ingenues. So this has been That 80s Show, a fascinating episode with the Celeb Savant. Give him a listen. Just give him a listen. If people want to start one episode, your favorite episode, I think I know which one it is. But people need to start somewhere. Which one should they go to right now?
Oh, I don't know. I love them all. I think they're all fantastic. They're all great. I'm going to list. I'm just going to. Okay, you say, and I'm going to list 5.
Okay, list your 5. Let's do 5. That's good.
I'm just going to list 5. So, the tribute to Olivia Newton-John with her publicist, Michael Caprio. I'm going to say the latest release, which is a director, South African director, Robert Dos Santos. I'm going to say Macy Gray. I'm going to say, so that's 3. Let's just do 2 80s artists. Let's say Boney M and Marcia Barrett from Boney M, and let's say Tiffany. Like I said, they're all my favorites. They're all brilliant, but I'm just randomly picking 5.
So many people. Tiffany was cooking while Barrett was talking to her, and she released a cookbook.
Or someone was in the kitchen with the pots and pans.
It was probably her because she was writing a cookbook at the time. My one that I said people must start with, I even forgot. I was like, oh, Tiffany. I was like, okay, where do you start? Sananda Maitreya.
Yes.
From the 80s as Trent D'Arby. That was like real. That was a really, really good one. He was really vulnerable in that one.
I'm going to be interviewing him again soon because he's got a new album coming out in April this year.
Doing all the things. That is Celeb Savant. Thank you for listening to That 80s Show. Everything you heard on the show can be found. That 80s Show SA Facebook page. Play a drinking game when you post up that like intro of Mickey Mouse Club. Every time you recognize someone you know, so you recognize somebody, have a shot. Have a drink on Barrett. Thanks for joining me, Barrett. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.